Have you ever heard artists talk about layering and wondered, how do they do it? What layer goes where? How do they make decisions? Well, I'm going to demythologize the whole idea in this video by showing you some of the beginning layers on some small paintings that I'm working on. Before I do that, I have a free guide on how to find your own style, your own creative voice, and you can download that either at the link on the screen. Go to my website at louisefletcherart.com and click on the Learn With Me in the menu, or linked in the description below. And this is a quick and easy guide to help you find your own creative voice. Now, let me take you over to my work table and show you what I'm doing. So when people talk about layering on acrylic paintings, I think it can sometimes feel like they are layering with intent, by which I mean they know what's going to happen. They're doing everything on purpose. And everything is very deliberate for me at the later stages of a painting. But at the early layers, what I'm trying to do is get some serendipity, some interest, some things happening that later, when I remove paint, because I use an orbital sander, furniture scrapers, all sorts to remove paint, I want some of this texture to come back through. I expect the lines of this paper in some places to come back through. So I begin with a layer of collage. This is at the moment, probably not forever. I've put some black paint, like some writing, some imaginary writing. It doesn't actually say anything in black paint. I've done 6 of these just prepped like this. I'm going to do some building up of paint on a few of these, and just so that you can see how free it is. Basically what I'm going for is that some interesting things will be underneath when I put more layers on and then remove. Something that surprises me, something that looks really interesting that I couldn't have planned. And just to show you what I mean, on this painting, some writing came through from a layer of paper, but you see how some of the paper the edges of the paper have come through and they've been stained and highlighted by paint. I couldn't plan that, but I really like it. Some of the black marks I initially made underneath have come back through after sanding here and down here. And what that has the effect of, for me, there's a whole story that's gone into these paintings and a whole idea behind them. But one of the effects is it creates a sense of aging, of great depth, of things having happened before and then things happening on top. And that is part of the theme of what I'm working on. It's also about things being hidden and revealed. The collage, for me, plays an important part. It's not just there for willy-nilly. It's there for a purpose, but not everyone works that way and not everyone has that intention. But all artists who layer are basically looking for serendipity, things that happen that we can't plan. So I'm going to put a little bit of light on here now. This is a very light grey. Just cover up some of that black, knowing that I'm going to come back and reveal some of it again. On this one, I'm using some oil pastel to make some more marks. Anyone watching wanting to say, well, that's not even art. Yes, I know. This is just the underlayer. It's just little bits of it are going to peep through. The art comes in the curating of what you want the audience to see. So art isn't about necessarily, although it might be, skilled application of materials. It's about the choices that you've made of what you want your audience to look at. Oil pastel is a resist. It doesn't fully dry. Has to be very carefully sealed in when I use it with acrylics, but I've never had a problem. But what it does do is it resists the acrylics. So I can add acrylics over the top, and when I scratch in, when the acrylics are dry, they will come right off wherever I've put the oil pastel. So I need to mix up some different colours for this one. So I'm going to add some of that colour to this because as something that peeps through at the end, that might be quite nice. I'm trying to be very random because I don't want the painting to get contrived at this point. It's very easy to try too hard to make something look nice too early, and that's not what this is about. This is about getting some layers on that might surprise me, as I said before. how do I decide what to do? Some of it is based on knowing what will happen at a later stage, like I said with the oil pastel. But a lot of it is simply doing what I feel like doing and not getting involved in trying to make it look nice. So that is ghastly. Wonderful. That is how I start my abstract paintings. What will happen next is other layers will come on top when all this is dry. After one more layer, and the next layer I'll put might put some more bright colours, or if the piece is too bright I might put less bright colours. So in the next layer I will do the opposite of what's here, and then when it's all fully dried, in my process, what I do next is I remove some of the paint with a sander. The grit of the paper depends on how much paint I want to remove. So I usually start fairly fine and then go stronger if I need it. And then see what's here. And sometimes what's here is enough to start working with. It gives me the idea for the painting, and sometimes it isn't, in which case I keep going. And it's just that process. The art of it is knowing when to spot the thing that looks really good and how to turn that into a painting. That's where the art part comes in. At this point, the only skill involved in this, two skills really, the skill of that I've gathered over the years of knowing what to put down to get certain effects, but that is, mostly not the case. And the other skill is keeping myself from trying to make something pretty, because that will just never result in what I'm looking for. Right, everything's had a chance to dry. And I just want to show you what I was talking about with the oil pastels. See how if I just scratch at that, I can't get the paint off here because there's no oil pastel. But anywhere where there's oil pastel, it just comes off. On each of these paintings, I want some black and then something over the black, and I want primarily light everywhere else. I should put something light up here, and I'm going to apply it with this trowel. See how I can scrape off and get some interesting effects already there? Then I want to find a way to get a black mark that's a bit more organic than I would paint, and I think I want it to be that way. So I'm just gonna, I'm not very happy with that one. The paint's a bit wet, I think, so I'll forget about that as an idea. And just put some brush marks on. It's fine. I think I want a bit higher up the black. We probably got enough layers that I could start sanding. Another technique here that I'm not using on this one, but that you can use while it's wet, is to, when you've got layers like this, is to scratch through. So there's other stuff underneath, and so you can scratch out and get some of that through. So here where there's blue, I can make the scratch and I'll get the blue back. Like up here, can you see? Because it's white underneath, you get that nice marker. I'll leave that as it is. Now this is quite dull, isn't it? So I could just do something different over all the light area now. We've already got light. So big marks work well with sanding. Big, bold marks. Put some black on this trowel. Just get some unusual marks going. I think I'm going to put a nice bright green on here because it's all looking a bit dull. Now these are not, that green is not a colour I would typically put in my work, but this is layers, so why not? Pure white in, which we haven't got anywhere. Shall I just do some, I'll do some oil pastel on there as well. Right, let's leave that one. And this last one I'm going to be a bit more restrained on. Leave that one. I'm next going to sand them. So here are the two of the pieces sanded. You can see that I left a lot of the top part because I quite liked that. I didn't want to mess with that too much. But all this bottom part has become really nicely textured, which is nice. This one's gone absolutely bonkers. So much of that came off that I'll need to do something else entirely on top of there. So I'm going to very quickly make next moves on these. Very, very brief next moves to show you what I might do next. But I did next moves on one already. This one got completely sanded back. This was the orange and green one. Brought up some beautiful textures, as you can see. And then I went back in and painted. I kept textures of collage that I like. I kept lines that I like. But then in other areas, I covered some things over and I've made my next moves. So I'm getting closer to actually the composition, but this will get sanded again to create textures. And then I'll decide I might block some of this off and just keep the top part of this. I don't know, we'll see. But that is the one that's got another layer on. So on here, just let's do a couple of moves on each one so this video isn't way long. If you are interested, you can come and join my art tribe and see me paint a lot more often. So I would probably do something here now. We've got to get over that black with something. So I'm just covering it with an... Do you see what a difference that makes? Just being brave with a mark. I think I need to bring actually some bolder yellow down here at the bottom. Just like that. And I really like that now. All of a sudden, I just really like that. I will sand my cross shape again to bring some of the black through, but it has to dry. So that is that one. Now this one is one of the instances that often happens with this process where it leaves you nothing much that you like. So I think I would say of this, the only thing I maybe like is using green and black together. So I might put big, bold, black, as always. In this is just this series of paintings where I'm working with black. I don't normally use as much black as this, but it's important in what I'm doing now. But you see instantly the clarity of a big mark, instantly bringing clarity to a painting like this. The contrasting parts suddenly look so much better. And my green paint all came off down at the bottom. I'm going to put that back on, smush it in. Yeah, just making big, bold moves on something like this really, really helps because you are clarifying for the people looking at it what you want them to pay attention to. And that is really our job as artists. Like, if I like that blue line going up there, if I get rid of some of these black bits, it will be so much clearer. You will see the black going into blue line now, and that's an oil pastel that's coming back through. But you'll see that because I've cleaned up the rest of it. If I was to get rid of some of that yellow up there, see it even more, see? Now, I don't know if I want to leave that, but I'm just demonstrating what can happen. And even though with this process you can make some lovely textures, and you've got to be brave about getting rid of some of them, because just sanding pieces of paper or sanding paint doesn't make a painting, but to also make some decisions. So what I want to do next is bring the black a bit further up there. So that's that. And then when that dries, I want to bring some green over it somehow, and probably take a lot of this green away that I put there. I don't like how I've moved it over there though. So I'll get rid of that. So that leave that one to dry. Put a little bit of black down here and some pure yellow. Putting a grey bit on there. Yeah, I'm going to leave all three of these for now. And then my next moves will come when I come back in, maybe do some more sanding, see what I think of what I've got, see where I can improve it. But there's some lovely textures in here which now have a chance to shine now that there's not so many of them. Once more, here are our other two in progress. Orange, yellow. Feeling good about that session. We got a lot done. So if you want to layer paint, just remember to have fun with it. I share a lot more of my painting process in my Art Tribe artist community, where they get the inside scoop on everything I'm doing. So if that's of interest to you, have a look at my website, or there's a link below in my bio. But I hope this has been helpful anyway. So as you can see, really free and easy at this early stage. I am experimenting, I am playing, I am just putting down layers of paint. I do have some inkling of what will happen over years of experience, but mainly I'm looking for surprises at a later stage. And I think this is the biggest takeaway for you if you're interested in layering, is to realize that it's all about creating the conditions in which you can give yourself a surprise, and not about making something beautiful at the beginning. Don't forget to download your free guide by looking at the description below. No obligation, no fees, no catch. It's just, I'm really proud of this guide and I hope it helps you. I'll see you soon. Take care. Bye.